Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves to choose favorites, especially when it comes to awesome news. Frank, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great. I love favorites. I love picking my favorite things to talk about. So this should bode well.
This is going to bode super well. But first, before we talk about San Diego Comic-Con, Frank, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Commonwealth Brewing Company There Goes Gravity Wheat IPA.
Wow.
It's all the benefits of an IPA with all the benefits of a wheat beer.
Whoops, there goes gravity. Yeah.
Whoops, there goes gravity. Whoops, there goes Commonwealth Brewing Company.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I am drinking a Trapp Brewery Kölsch. Which it's funny because they don't really have names. They just have like, this is Trapp Brewery's Kölsch. This is Trapp Brewery's IPL. This is Trapp Brewery's Lager. That's just kind of how they do it. But it is the Trapp Brewery is the brewery from the Von Trapp family lodge up in Vermont. You know where the Maria and the hills were alive with the Sound of Music and things like that. But then they moved to Vermont and they were like, it's kind of like music. It's close enough. It's fine.
Yeah, beer's fine.
Yeah, beer's like music.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Vermont's kind of like Austria. It's all the same.
Actually, truthfully, if you go, have you ever been to the Trapp family lodge?
I haven't. I really do want to go.
It's excellent. Would recommend. But it looks just like Austria. Like, because the architecture of the lodge is, Germanic, Austrian, whatever. And then the mountains are literally the Green Mountains are in front of you. So you're like, yep, that's it. I made it. I traveled across the world, everyone. Huzzah. I'm happy.
The hills are, in fact, alive.
With the sound of beer and
of Comic-Con.
Of Comic-Con.
Of music.
Of music. Anyway, Frank, let us talk about San Diego Comic-Con. Let's talk some great news. Let's talk some big news. Let's talk some small stuff first before we get to the big stuff.
Slow your roll there.
Exactly. So, small news first. I mean, none of it's really small. It's all very exciting. But here's a real piece of small news that you won't care about at all. I guarantee it. We are getting 2 more Halloween movies after this latest Halloween reboot extension, that just came out this Halloween. We're getting one in 2020 and one in 2021, which is fun. But that's going to wrap up the Halloween movies and the Mike Myers stories until they decide to reboot it again.
Yeah, I look forward to more of them in 2025.
Yeah, exactly. Except you don't, because you don't care. So I told you it was something you didn't care about.
Really,
but some people
really
do,
don't care.
like me. Second thing,
I'm happy for you.
Pennyworth, the new epic show about Alfred Pennyworth, is set in the Gotham universe.
Yeah, so how do you feel about that?
I mean, now I think I'll watch it with greater detail, but for I already miss Gotham because I miss the tone of Gotham. It was irreverently macabre, I guess, and there was really nothing else like it on TV, and so I look forward to seeing that, but also 60s British spy thriller. That's to me that's going to be fun. I mean, the guy who's playing Alfred went in a more like traditional Alfred like style, and so that doesn't really match the Gotham style. But maybe they're just saying it's in the Gotham universe to get Gotham fans to watch it.
Right. Okay. So you don't feel like it has any kind of like the same look or.
I mean, well, it's made by the same people, so it has a similar color palette. Like you can see it, but besides that, I don't know how, like, say, gothic they're going to get. But it's also set in London. It's not set in Gotham. So I don't want London to look like Gotham. You know?
Sure. Well, the series starts soon, right? It's just like in a few days.
Yeah, you can actually already get the first episode online. So I have not watched it yet, but I know it is watchable. So
okay.
So there's that. It Chapter 2 dropped its next trailer. It still looks great. That first trailer was amazing. Oh, it was so good. But that second one still looks good. Very excited. Great cast. Bill Hader, James McAvoy, Jessica Chastain. You know, it's all good. It's good stuff.
It's all great.
It's all good stuff. All right. Let's talk about stuff that you do care about, sort of, maybe kind of. DC Universe, the streaming service, announced that Doom Patrol is definitely getting a second season. It was renewed.
All right.
As is Young Justice Season 4, which is just like the success story of the century, where everyone was like, bring it back. And a couple years later, they were like, okay. Okay. Like that rarely happens. There are examples of it. Family Guy is a good example.
Oh, sure.
Of that, but it doesn't happen too often. Futurama, it happens. It happens more with animation than anything else, apparently. But
I guess that's true. Yeah,
bring it back. Okay, great. Yeah, and so it's getting renewed, but also the big deal with that is that Doom Patrol, its second season, will stream simultaneously on DC Universe and HBO Max, the WB streaming service.
Yeah, so that's interesting, huh? That's a different approach for sure.
Well, I mean, it's synergy, certainly, and they, but I mean, if the costs of making Doom Patrol land only within the DC Universe budget, that means that HBO Max is basically getting a free show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all in the same umbrella company, technically, but they're, it's of no cost really to stream HBO Max, but then that might lead people to DC Universe. I mean, if they do that for all their shows, you might see kind of an exodus out of DC Universe to HBO Max.
Well, I think that HBO Max is gonna eat DC Universe.
I mean, I would assume the same thing, except that maybe HBO Max doesn't offer, say, the shopping or the comics, or things like that. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if. I mean, I don't read the comics on there because I own a good chunk of comics or whatever else, but I'm there just pretty much for the TV shows or the movies. But if all those movies and shows that become available on HBO Max, then DC Universe doesn't really hold any weight for me anymore. So I don't know.
Right.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. DC Animated, we're getting 3 new movies. Batman Hush was just released digitally. It's pretty good. It's not as good as Death of Superman. Like if I'm like that's my new benchmark for this new little universe, and it's not as good. It's a hard story to adapt because it's a mystery, and so they focus on the Catwoman Batman love story, and then they change a bunch about the Hush storyline. But it's good. It's worth it if you like Batman and Hush. So that that's something. But we're getting 2 Superman movies, which is crazy. We're getting an adaptation of Batman Red Son, the Superman communist story,
Superman Red Son.
What did I say? Did I say
Batman Red Son?
Shoot.
Which would be a very cool movie.
Yes, it would be. But I mean, Batman's in Red Son. But so we're getting Superman.
That's true.
We're getting Superman Red Son, and we are, which I thought you'd be more excited about. Honestly, you seem.
I am excited for Red Son, but I felt like I'm super excited for Red Son, no doubt. No doubt. I love that story, as we've talked about all season on Supergirl, all throughout season 4, right? Like, I love that story, and I'm excited to see it get adapted because the only adaptation it's had up until now has been a weird motion comic that was pretty bad.
Oh, my God. I forgot about the motion comic.
So bad.
That was so bad. You're right.
For such a good comic, such a bad motion comic. So I'm definitely excited to get the Red Son movie. And I'm kind of surprised it took him this long to adapt this one because it is sort of a beloved story. But.
Maybe they just felt they couldn't do it justice until a certain point, or maybe it was on their docket for a while, but then there was some reshuffling, whatever. So that's their out of universe movie. So we know they do 3 a year. 2 are in the universe and 1 is out of it. So Superman Red Son's the first one, early 2020, out of universe. Then Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, which is a sequel to their first Justice League Dark film. That's exciting, and obviously seems to be including the New Gods and whatever else, synergy. and
Synergy.
And then we're getting another original Superman movie called Superman Man of Tomorrow, which is about the early days of Superman in that universe.
It seems like it's another new like Superman origin story.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, have they said which, if any, stories it's based on? Or are we going more?
It's original.
It's totally original.
It's original.
But
yeah.
Okay. So they haven't said whether there's any influence from Secret Origin or Birthright or anything like that.
Nothing.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. Original. Because I mean, in late 2019, potentially early 2020, I'm not sure when it's getting released, they're doing Wonder Woman Bloodlines, which is an original Wonder Woman story set in their universe, but it's her early story. So I think they're taking the Bloodlines style and putting it into Superman next.
I see. Okay.
So I think that, but the Bloodline story takes elements of some stories like Silver Swan and Steve Trevor coming to the island, things like that, but it's not directly adapted from anything in particular. So people always draw inspiration from something else.
Well, that's more what I mean. It's not so much what's it based on, but like what elements are they influenced by.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see that.
Yeah, have not seen. I don't know. I hope they kind of go in a different direction. I'm tired of seeing the John Byrne influence. Like I've seen it. Like give me something different. Even Birthright. Like I've seen it. Like give me something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Show me something cool. So that's DC animated. That's fun. The Watchmen trailer dropped for the HBO series. Did you watch it? Did you watch it?
I did not watch The Watchmen.
Ugh. It was almost it's almost worth you not watching it for that. But I wanted to talk about it, but now I can't really talk about it. Minnie hit me with your best shot here. And do I want to watch this show?
Okay.
Yes, you do. And honestly, I would have said probably not before I watched that trailer.
That's okay. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. So okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So from the trailer, it looks like superheroes have kind of gone underground in some way, but there's this group that found Rorschach's journal, and they've kind of like taken up Rorschach's philosophies as their mantras, and they just go after the police.
Yep.
And so the police, to protect themselves after this kind of massacre, start wearing masks themselves to protect their identities. So these like Rorschach impersonators can't come after them anymore. And that's where like some of the imagery is coming from. But it also looks like we're getting the return of we are definitely getting the return of Dr. Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
There's a nice,
that's exciting.
Yeah. So there's a scene right at the end of the trailer. There's a Dr. Manhattan mask like in the middle of a street. Like it makes more sense in the context of the trailer. And somebody in a suit goes to pick it up, and he's got a blue hand. And you're like,
oh, cool.
Oh, so he back because they think he's on Mars. That's the
right.
That's the thing. And then Jeremy Irons is definitely playing Ozymandias.
I know, that's exciting,
and that is very exciting. It's almost worth watching for that. But also, there are shots of Archie, Night Owl's ship, doing some stuff. So we might be actually getting a Night Owl return as well. So it's like,
so that sounds different than what we were originally sort of teased.
What were we originally teased?
I didn't get the sense that there was going to be as much like of the actual characters that we know from the book, like playing that prominently. I thought it was more something in that universe, but less focused on those characters themselves.
Well,
so I'm glad that they're going to be there. It sounds like.
Well, I mean, they could be doing it in the style of, say, like the new Star Wars trilogy, where it's like, here are your new characters, we're actually following them, but your favorites are still there. They're just not the focus because it's 30 years later. Like, what do you want?
No,
you know what I mean?
I'm good
it's
with
like,
that.
what do you want Night Owl to do? He's like 70 years old,
Right. But I'm glad it's happened. I'm glad that they're going to be there as much as.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So it made me much more excited than I was previously.
Cool.
So
all right, I'm in.
Yeah, I would say watch the trailer. But if I was going to say watch any trailer, Frank, really watch any trailer, watch the Jay and Silent Bob reboot trailer.
Oh man, yes, that was such a fun trailer. I'm actually extremely hyped for that movie.
Yep, me too. It was like a great way to start Comic-Con. Like I was like,
That's right.
I'm so happy about this. I'm so happy. Everybody's back. Everybody's back.
Everyone.
And honestly, it's like obviously it's just like it's gonna run like a who's who of like Kevin Smith's friends and coworkers and things like that. But it's like literally that reboot nostalgia factor that he's hyping up. He's playing with that very thing that Hollywood is playing right now.
Yeah, and it's like it's so delightfully sort of tongue in cheek, but also like legit. Like it looks really good, and I'm really excited for this. I'm actually very, very excited for this movie. I'm maybe more excited for this movie than I am for some of the big studio films.
Right.
Right. So like I'm pumped. I'm pumped. This looks really fun. It's like everyone he's ever worked with is in this trailer. Including Melissa Benoist, including Ben Affleck, including Matt Damon, like including all these great people, all featuring pretty prominently in the trailer. So I'm stoked. I'm super stoked for this movie.
I know. I'm so pumped. Anyway, so Frank, let's talk about the big thing the movie thing. Marvel did its Hall H panel, as they usually do, not always, but usually do, and they announced Phase 4. What are the Phase 4 movies, which includes television. So Phase 4 now includes Disney Plus. So you like to kind of stay in with some of, it's kind of almost like fluffing out the universe. It's not really necessary, I guess, but it's kind of like building on what you're interested in. But there's no Avengers movie in the Phase 4. It's the first time.
The first phase to not have an Avengers movie.
Yep. That is a testament to the characters themselves, that they're like, no, we don't actually need to have all of them get together because you're just interested in all of them now, which is pretty great. Mm-hmm. So things that were announced in no particular order, things we already know about. The first thing that's showing up is The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is, Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan are back for Disney Plus for their little television show, but they are going to be fighting Zemo again. Daniel Bruhl is back as Baron Zemo, and he is definitely wearing his purple mask, confirmed at Con, which is, I was upset. Something I was sorely missing from Civil War. He's got a good look, and so the idea is that his dismantling of the heroes didn't work as he wanted it to work in Civil War, so he's back to try a different way.
I like that.
I like that too. Anthony Mackie confirmed. He is wearing a Captain America costume, and it looks good. But of course, he's going to say that it's Comic-Con. Of course, he's going to say that it looks good. I'll keep going with the Disney Plus stuff right now. Then we'll do movies. That's a movie. They're doing a animated series in the MCU. So the first animated series featured in the MCU, a What If series, which Jeffrey Wright is the voice of the Watcher, and many actors from across the MCU reprising their roles as voice talent exclusively for Disney Plus. So what if this happened instead? What if Peggy Carter got the Captain America formula, the Super Soldier formula, instead of Steve Rogers? Things like that. I'm excited.
That's so fun.
I know. Sounds so fun. Yeah,
that sounds so fun. And with the original voice cast, reprising their roles.
Original actors reprising their roles, plus Jeffrey Wright, who is the best. Jeffrey Wright is great.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Hawkeye is getting his own Disney Plus show. It will feature Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye again, but it will focus on his time as Ronin. So after the blip.
Yeah.
And then before Avengers Endgame.
Very cool idea.
Yeah, I think so too. And it'll introduce Kate Bishop into that mix. So I think that's fun. Kate Bishop is the second Hawkeye. Late 20. Let me see, when is this coming? Spring 2021. We're getting WandaVision, which is Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, and Teyonah Parris all showing up for WandaVision, which is their. I get it's kind of like their time hopping alternate reality thing. It's been speculating a little bit. We don't know exactly what it is, but Teyonah Parris is playing an aged up Monica Rambeau, she's a kid in Captain Marvel and becomes the second Captain Marvel, or the Miss Marvel rather. So
right.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. That's exciting. I love those characters, so I'm pumped for that. And last but not least, spring 2021 is Loki, starring Tom Hiddleston, where he is influencing world events, with the Tesseract potentially.
With the Tesseract.
Yeah.
So this is the Loki disappears the Tesseract in Endgame show.
Yep, exactly. It's really exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so movies. Let's talk about some movies. Stuff we already know is
Lots of
happening.
them.
Stuff we know is happening. Black Widow is coming out May 1st, 2020. That's the first Marvel movie after Spider-Man, really. So it's almost we get almost a year off from Marvel. Scarlett Johansson, David Harbour is playing Red Star. Florence Pugh, I not confirmed who she's playing, but she's probably playing the second Black Widow, whose name I can't remember. Rachel Weisz is probably playing Iron Maiden, and Taskmaster is confirmed as one of the villains in the film, which is awesome. I love Taskmaster. He's like Deathstroke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
He mimics your fighting style. So if he's fighting, like if you're fighting him, he knows exactly how to hit like you hit. So
that's good. That's fun. That's great big screen material.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're getting this movie, and they did officially confirm that it is a prequel.
It is a.
Did they not?
It takes place after Civil War, before Infinity War. Yeah, and we will learn the origins of Budapest. So they always, Hawkeye and Black Widow always talk about Budapest. So this is part of that story. I'm excited. I mean, I like spy stuff, and so I'm excited for this. I'm honestly most excited for Taskmaster, if I have to be honest. I'm excited to see that on screen because it's basically like evil Captain America. Like if I had to pinpoint fighting style or something like that, but he can copy you. So that's good. And Andy Park, one of the concept artists, released what he looks like. He released the concept art, and he looks awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, he looks super cool. All right, next thing on the movie docket, the Eternals, which is Jack Kirby's, Jack Kirby's what you call them. The fun people, his New Gods version.
The New Gods type of...
I know. I don't know almost nothing about them, but I can tell you that Kumail Nanjiani is in it, and
that's the thing that I'm most excited. I stopped listening when they said Kumail. I know, sure, there's bigger people in it, like some person, Jolie, Angelina, something or other. I don't know. Kumail Nanjiani's the real celebrity there for me.
Well, because we met him, it's tangible for you. That
is true.
It is.
That is partly
yeah.
right.
Richard Madden is the other one that I think that is important for most people. Game of Thrones. He played Robb Stark. I know that doesn't matter anything to you, but but he played Robb Stark. So that's a good cast. So you could basically do anything with the Eternals. I don't really care. So just make a good movie. It's fine. Whatever you want to do is fine by me. They released some concept art. It looks funky already. It's gonna be fun and different, but I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So that's that. And
this is funky concept art.
I told you. It's funky.
It kind of looks like that painting, that Ralph McQuarrie painting where C-3PO is walking towards the camera, the one that Anthony Daniels always says inspired him to take the role.
Yes. That's exactly what it looks like. Good call. Actually, great call on that. The surprise of the evening, Blade, a new movie, Reboot in the MCU, starring Frank. Who is it starring?
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, it is. Did you know that? So the story goes that Mahershala called Marvel and said, "Hey, I want to play Blade," and that's how it happened. That was it.
Oh my God, that's
Kevin
so
Feige
cool.
was like, he called. We had a meeting, and they got to the meeting. He's like, "I'd like to play Blade," and Kevin Feige was like, "Great, let's do it." That's how they.
Because that is if he walks in your door and says, "Hi, I'm Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali."
Two-time Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali. You do it. You just do it, and that was that. So I think that's exciting. That's really exciting.
No one will. One day we'll look back and be like, "Remember when Blade played Cottonmouth?"
I know. Blade is not in Phase 4 though; it's Phase 5. So they announced it because it's fun and exciting, but he is not. Doesn't count for Phase 4. So it wraps up. So those are those. A movie I am weirdly irrationally excited for, even though I have no connection to the character whatsoever, is Shang-Chi. They announced Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I'm so excited for this movie. I like Kung Fu, so maybe that's part of it. But also the Mandarin, Frank. The Mandarin is the villain. The Legend of the Ten Rings, the Ten Rings from Iron Man. We were going back to the very first movie and wrapping up that plot thread right from the beginning. And that is awesome. Simu Liu, Aquafina, and Tony Leung in that film. And that
do you hold out hope that they're going to right the wrongs of Iron Man 3?
They definitely are. That's the only reason they're doing it. Well, in the comics, Shang-Chi's father is Fu Manchu, like the evil Fu Manchu, which does not play well anymore.
No. And they will work their way around that.
Marvel doesn't actually have the rights to Fu Manchu anymore, so they couldn't even use him if they wanted to. And so I think they're basically taking Fu Manchu out and putting the Mandarin in. And like getting a better version of that. So they're definitely going to do the Mandarin justice, because Iron Man 3 did not do the Mandarin justice. But that Shang-Chi might even temper my feelings towards Iron Man 3, knowing that a better version of the Mandarin is out there and real, and I can see it. So we'll see. So that's great. I'm very excited.
Cool.
I'm very excited for Shang-Chi.
Hashtag justice for the Mandarin.
Justice for the Mandarin, exactly. And then the two movies that I think got the most love here at Comic-Con. One is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is a riff off of the H.P. Lovecraft's story in the Mountains of Madness, which is what Alien is based on. So that's a great title. It tells you a lot about and almost nothing about what's going to happen. But I love me some Doctor Strange, and the Scarlet Witch is going to be in it, and that's very exciting. I love that, because they've like evolved her over the progression of each movie, So like she's really standing on her own here with Doctor Strange, two very powerful people. Her show is actually supposed to explore why she's called the Scarlet Witch, because she's never been called that before.
I was gonna say, I guess now they can use the name, huh?
Yep, they can use. Yeah, they can. Right.
Okay, so there you
go.
They
can use the name, so they're going to be exploring that. I guarantee you, we're going to see some Quicksilver in Multiverse of Madness. I think. Yeah. I think that'll be fun. I can't wait for that. Because I love Doctor Strange. But I think the movie that everyone's talking about the most, because it's great, with Thor 4 is happening, but it's called Thor: Love and Thunder, and we're bringing back Natalie Portman to play Thor, or the mighty Thor.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that's actually happening. I thought she was I thought it was a miracle we got her in Endgame. I thought that she was done with the MCU. But I guess you bring back Taika Waititi as director, maybe, and you sort of right the wrongs that got her annoyed with Marvel a few years ago, and she's back.
I mean, I think she knows that she's going to be treated well, and also she's going to be Thor. So there's precedence for her to come back in a way that, like, I'm just the love interest. I need to be saved. Like, she's not interested in that. She's interested in being the hero, and I can't blame her for that. And that really adds so much fun weight to where Thor is on his journey. And James Gunn said that Thor: Love and Thunder takes place before Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Okay, I was wondering about that. So that's interesting. Okay. So, wow, we do have quite a wait then before we see some of these characters again,
Tons. Tons.
It's so much time.
Yep.
Between, which is maybe a good thing.
I think so too.
Because I think the pace of the MCU the last couple of years has been, I mean, granted, they built up this momentum, so they're able to crank these things out and keep the interest going, but maybe it's a good thing to slow down a little bit for Phase 4, and get ahead of any possible sort of superhero fatigue.
Yeah, I agree. But they're also introducing a few new subgenres into these, into their lineup here. So if you count Blade, that's a horror. We haven't gone that direction in the MCU before. Shang-Chi's Kung Fu, we've not done that before. Multiverse of Madness is, well, I guess reality tripping, but could lean into a horror aspect. Even Love and Thunder, even the logo is like punk rock, heavy metal. You know, we don't know what that means exactly, what that looks like, but the future is female at Marvel, Frank, I tell you.
I know. It's great. It's great.
It is great.
It's great. Oh, it comes out on the 5th of November. That's fun.
That is fun.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Hey, do you think this is the treatment? We had heard that Taika Waititi was submitting a treatment.
Definitely.
A couple months ago. This is it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they don't announce things without.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Do you think that they went a different direction than what he proposed?
No,
I think so. This is it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he proposed it. They figured it out with Natalie, and they got it all. It's been working. I mean, they might even propose. Yeah. They probably proposed it even before he submitted his treatment.
I was going to say they probably said, "Bring us a treatment that has Jane Foster as Thor."
Yeah, I mean that's great. It's very exciting. They're expanding and honoring and giving us something fresh. So we're not just watching another movie with Thor in it, but we're watching a movie with Jane Foster as Thor. You know, and that was something in the comics that people were not about when that was announced, and it ended up being one of the best runs of Thor ever. So, so there you go. Frank, there's also DC TV, over on the CW. But we talked about that on Supergirl TV Talk.
Yes.
So people can head over to Supergirl TV Talk if they'd like to listen to us talk about that, because we talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths in great detail. The only thing I didn't mention in there is Batwoman is introducing Hush into the show. The origin of Hush, it will be related to Batman, but coming after her. So it was good stuff, and I am excited. But Frank, any final Comic-Con thoughts?
No, nothing. Everything else that, like you said, anything else I've got to say, we said over at Supergirl TV Talk. So you can check out all of our conversation around the DCCW and Supergirl in particular over at supergirltvtalk.com or thoughtbubbleaudio.com. That's where you can get this show and all of our other shows. You can find us at Beer with Geeks on Twitter. You can follow me at Frank Ramblings and Tim at TimothyPG13 on Twitter. And you can email us beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Overcast, on all the podcast apps. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you'll find Beer with Geeks and all the other Thought Bubble audio shows. All good stuff, all available there. But yeah, definitely go over, check out Supergirl TV Talk. If nothing else, check it out for our Comic-Con Roundup, sort of part 2, where we cover DC TV and Supergirl.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
I'm excited to be your friend as always, and I'm excited for DC and Marvel and Comic-Con, and I wish I was there, but I'm also glad I wasn't there because crowds and
it's crowded and I don't like people
and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, if you were wondering if we're going to cover The Lion King, stay tuned because that's coming soon. Tim recorded a lovely, fun episode about The Lion King that I cannot wait for you all to hear.
Yes,
and also probably worth mentioning that Tim, we're coming up pretty soon on 5 years of Beer with Geeks.
5 years of Beer with Geeks. This is so exciting. 5 years. That's a new song that I'm singing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sing that song. Sing that song.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get yourselves primed for a very special anniversary episode coming up quite soon.
Get ready for that. But that is just about everything I've got on my mind for this week.
And me as well. So,
all right.
Well, until next time,
cheers.
Cheers.